I just made this real quick to see if I could actually make a granny square from memory, and apparently I can. So I'm gonna grab a prettier yarn and we're gonna work through one together. This Big Twist purple ombre yarn has been calling my name, so I figured I'd go ahead and start with that. I want to say that this is a traditional granny square, but there are many different patterns on how to do it. Some join in different places during the round. It's up to you to find what works best for you and prevents it from becoming off kilter. Instead of doing a magic ring, I'll go ahead and do a chain 4 and join. So we're going to start with a slip knot and chain 4. 1, 2, whoops, 3, 4. That's what I get for moving too fast, huh? All right, back into that first chain, yarn over and slip stitch, and then we'll have this hole in the middle to work into. So here you can choose to do a chain 3. I like to keep it uniform, so I'm going to do a standing double crochet from my first stitch. I have a tutorial on how to do it a little further down my page. All right, we're going to do another double crochet and another double crochet. So a granny cluster is just 3 double crochets. We're going to make corners by putting in 2 chains. So we've got our first cluster and we need 4 to make a square. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 'That's another cluster. Chain 2 for a corner. 1, 2, 3, chain 2 for the last corner. 1, 2, 3, and I lied, that was not the last corner, this is. Chain 2, and then slip stitch to join at the top of that beginning double crochet, or chain 3 depending on how you chose to do it. All right, slip stitch to join. We'll go ahead and pull the tail to tighten, and then we'll have a square. Now when you first start making granny squares, you're going to want to rotate your work after every round, otherwise it will kind of start to tilt. It's kind of hard to explain if you haven't seen it. Okay, sorry, my timer went off to check my slow cooker. So we're flipped over to the other side and we're getting ready to start making this corner. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and do a standing double crochet, but there's no shame in just doing a chain 3 here. All right, there's our first double crochet for the corner. 2, whoa, sorry, my yarn went crazy. All right, 3. All right, and for corners, we chain 2 and do another cluster of 3. So into that same stitch, we're gonna do 1, 2, 3. Now, some patterns and tutorials will tell you to chain over the sides and in the side clusters. It really just depends on your tension and how tight you crochet and how you want it to look. I don't chain in between the sides, I only chain in the corners, but there's nothing wrong with it if you do. It's all personal preference. Just make a few granny squares and figure out what you like. Your first few may be terrible. I know mine definitely were, and I wish I would have saved them to show you guys. Okay, I paused so you didn't hear my gross burp, but we're gonna make the next corner. So we're gonna make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then chain 2 and make 3 more into that same chain space. So 1, 2, 3. I also love granny squares because you're only crocheting in spaces, not in the top of stitches. So when you begin, it's kind of hard to differentiate where you should be putting your hook. Granny squares are a great place to start because you don't really have to worry about that. You just look for the next chain space and go right there. So into the next corner. 1, 2, 3. Chain 2. And 3 more. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we've got 3 corners so far. We've just got 1 more right here. So we're gonna put in 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Chain 2. And 3 more. 1, 2, 3. All right, and then into the top of this stitch or the top of your chain 3, we're going to slip stitch to close that round. And then rotate again back to the other side. And right now we've got a little square. Now this is the first round that's actually going to have side clusters as well as corners. So we'll go ahead and start right here in the middle to add this side cluster. Again, I'm going to do a standing double crochet, but you can chain 3 if you like. So there's 1, 2, 3. And then into this side or this corner right here, we're going to make another corner. So we're going to make 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Chain 2, and some patterns have you chain 3. Again, it's up to you. And then 3 more. 1, 2, 3. All right, and this is a side, so we're just going to add 1 cluster of 3. 1, 2, 3. So with each round, the clusters on the side will grow exponentially. You pretty much just keep doing this around and around until you make it as big as you want. You can make a blanket out of a continuous granny square. It's really up to you how big you make it. You can change colors after every round if you like. Some people do that and make specific patterns to make blankets or cardigans or tote bags. I mean, granny squares are really so versatile. They are a bit redundant. I've heard they're a nightmare for people with ADHD. But if you want something to kind of mindlessly do while you're watching a show or listening to an audiobook or something, granny squares are perfect for that. All right, I went ahead and finished that round because I'm running out of time. I seem to yap a lot when I'm making granny squares. So we're going to go ahead and slip stitch to close. And there we have a little granny square. And you can weave in the ends as you go or wait until the end and weave them all in once you've made however many you need. If you have any questions or if I went too fast or missed anything, let me know and I'll try to get back to you. Bye.